ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ So, very good afternoon to one and all. Respected resource person for this afternoon session, Dr. A.R. Bhardwaj sir has. So, on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, I welcome him to this afternoon session. He will deliver one lecture, and from 4:15 onwards, there will be a well-read session. So, again, I welcome him. And I would request before starting of the lecture that all participants should open their cameras. सभी participant camera open करें. And I would now hand over the session to Ashwini Kumar Bhardwaj sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rafiji. I am extremely thankful to the Institute and the director and the assistant director, Rafiji, for giving me this opportunity to interact and sensitize the faculties on National Education Policy 2020. With regards to my domain is going to be on the skill development. And as requested, we'll have this session up to 4:45, and then we'll have a 10 minutes interaction for that. And then we are all requested to proceed with the validatory function of the program. Skill development, I would like to know which language I should go for. I can go for Marathi, Hindi, or English, whichever is being recommended. I think we'll go by the choice. Who is the coordinator can just tell me which language you would like to prefer. The mixed language, Anil Rokdeji is putting up mixed language. Any other choice, any languages from English, Hindi mixed. Okay, let us go by English, Hindi. And in between, if we are really having a difficulty, we will get into in Marathi also. So the topic of today is evolving around skill development, the vocational education, which is going to come in a big way in higher education today. Before getting into that, we must have a preamble for it. We must have certain foundation. What is this all about? And when we see that the National Education Policy 2020 proposes the revision and the revamping of all aspects of education. It's not just one aspect or only the curriculum aspect. The National Education Policy 2020 is basically focusing on every aspect. So it's going to be a more integrated type of a holistic type, nothing on syllabus or only on the infrastructure or only on the research or only on the pedagogy. It is also aiming that we are supposed to prepare our youth for tomorrow, something which higher education is actually meant for. So it is going to include educational structure, regulation, governance to create a new system which is aligned with the aspirational goal of the 21st century student. The students are 21st century students, so we need to see in which way we can equip them, in which way we can shape them, in which way they are going to be ready to face the challenges which are coming up in the 21st century. The skill set which is going to be required, it's not the same. It has changed over a period of a time. Even in our case also, we are slowly and steadily changing, and changing what? From an offline mode, today we are into a online, and sometimes we are into a hybrid mode. We are using too much of technology and digital platforms for education purpose. So there is a change. There is a change which is coming up in a big way, and we are supposed to see what are the aspirational goals of 21st century students are. What are their objective? What are their life goals? What they actually aspire to be? And the ultimate aim of the education policy is to make the youth a global citizen, compatible enough that he can face any challenges wherever he moves, geographically, wherever he moves, okay? Because the world is shrinking post-COVID, we have seen it out. The world has shrinked, and it is not the same. Now it has been shrink to a level that whatever happens in the Western world is very much reflected in our Indian system also. So, preparing the youth for the 21st century, according to the policy, by 2025, at least 50% of the learners through the school and the higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education. It's a high aim. 50% of the students, those who are coming out of the school, out of their 10th, out of their 12th, and the moment they are getting into the university or the colleges or the institution of higher education, they are supposed to get at least a one vocational education. It's a huge, big dream as such, a very realistic at the same time, because the homework is being already done. Somewhere the basic infrastructure or the basic environment is already created. And that's why by 2025, this is the year, and we are on the first day of the new year, we are supposed to see that 50% of the pass out student from the school get vocational education, for which a clear action plan with targets and timelines are developed. The policy aims to overcome the social status hierarchy associated with the vocational education and integration of vocational education into mainstream education. Because as we see, what is the status of vocational education? How people see vocational education? What is their attitude towards vocational education? What is they still consider it as an extracurricular activity? What is, uh, I would like to say, what is the stigma which is attached to the vocational education? There are so many issues which are pertaining to the vocational education. And now we are thinking, not only thinking, but we are working on that vocational education should be the part of mainstream education. The mainstream education is something which we all are giving: art, science, commerce, uh, other management science subjects. These are mainstream. Within this mainstream, we are supposed to collaborate vocational education also. We are supposed to bring vocational education into it. So it's a challenge one. It is because we have to work really hard in breaking these shackles, in breaking these notions. As we all know, it has already been started by UGC, University Grant Commission, in offering BVOC courses to most of those colleges. It has been initiated in the last 5 years more rigorously through the Niti Aayog and University Grant Commission and the Department of Education. So bringing into the mainstream education, at the same time, in all educational institution in phased manner. There is nothing called as a flooding. Okay, there is nothing which you are supposed to bring every change uh, immediately. It is planned that it has to be done in a phased manner, step by step, baby steps, and then we are supposed to go for a bigger, impactful coverage of it. So, beginning with vocational exposure at early ages in the middle and secondary school, quality vocational education will be integrated smoothly into schools basically and higher education later on. So, something which we are aiming right now is bringing vocational education in the university level or college level. The government has actually planned to bring it to the school level first. So vocational education, early vocational education will start in the schools from standard 6th onwards, and it will go gradually up to 10th and 12th standard. So something which is the culture is developed. Somewhere the culture is going to be developed over the period of a time that it comes into the school education that one child has to learn a vocational course or a skill-based course. So it is going to happen in a phase-wise manner from school and higher education. Every child will learn at least one vocation and is exposed to several more. The criteria is that a child, a learner, must have minimum one skill. At the same time, he is going to be exposed to many, but he has to pick up one, so that once he is being out of the school, or if he is not able to continue higher education for the reason sometimes which are not in their hand, the child should able to become employable. The child should become somewhere with his skills, whichever he has learned in the school, should give him the employability, because that's the whole perspective about it. This youth or the children, those who are learners, those who are coming out of the school, and they are some way, if they are the dropouts, they must have basic skills so that they can stand on their own feet. So that's the objective of this. So one skill minimum every child has to learn henceforth, though he will be given exposure to many skills. He has a choice, or rather the learner has a choice, which skill he or she is supposed to master over a period of a time. This would lead to emphasizing the dignity of labor and importance of various vocations involving Indian arts and artmanship. We see whether the skills are being given the due respect, or the one we normally talk about, the dignity to the labor. In our country, somebody who is doing a carpentry, somebody who's doing some other aspects, okay, or he is working as a plumber or a mason or an electrician, whether we see that particular job as a dignified job. So bringing dignity in every job, bringing that respect in every job has a humongous task for us, so that vocational education, if it is being introduced, or it is being already introduced, must be brought into the mainstream without having too much of a botheration, or without having too much of a this negative aspect to it. So we are talking about importance of various vocational involving Indian arts, and we see somewhere that Indian art is also being somewhere not coming up front, or these are the arts which are now extinct. In some cases, we are supposed to revive them. In some cases, we have to evolve them because we have lost them in the process of automation. So there are certain skills which India owns and which are supposed to be revamped again, or which are supposed to be resurfaced and supposed to be strengthened through Indian arts and artsmanship. By 2025, at least, as we already said, 50% of the learner through the schools and higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education. Now, that is what is being expecting, what is being promised, that 50% of the students or the learners must have one basic vocational skill. Now, it's a huge task if you talk about the gross enrollment ratios into higher education. For that, the gross enrollment ratio in the schools should be 100%. And there is a systematic approach to it. There is a very conscious effort made by the government and made by the state governments, where the enrollment and schools are being taken care. 100%, what we say, the enrollment should be there at every stage. And right to education is one of the instrument where every child has a right to get the education up to 14. And now there's a process that the child should get the education up to 16 years of age. Now, what is being restricted up to 14? There is a possibility, there is a think tank which is going on, which is aiming to increase this age from 14 to 16 also, so that the students are at any point of a time, money should not become a deterrent if they are not able to continue the education. So 50% of the learners will get education in vocational background, exposure to vocational program, for which a clear-cut action plan is already laid down by the ministry. Vocational education will be integrated in educational offerings of all secondary schools in a phased manner over next decade. How it is being planned? In a phased manner, in most every school, whether they are providing up to 10 standard education or 12 standard education, they are supposed to offer this integrated offering has to be done in vocational education, and it has to be done in next decade. So what we are planning to revamp the whole education system, as we also know, the blueprint which was given, it was aiming of a change up to 2035. So whatever is happening now, we are going to see a complete impact or a complete outcome-based things by 2035. So any policy which has to be implemented, and if you really want to see the impact of it, we need to have at least a duration of a decade to see where we have aimed and where we have reached. So the next decade, by 2035, in a phased manner, in a gradual process, step by step, we can see that it is being implemented. The development of vocational capacities will go hand in hand with the development of academic and other capabilities. We are not supposed to make a child only and only about academic capabilities or other capabilities or sports capabilities. We are supposed to develop equally the vocational capabilities also. And there is the challenge, how we are going to integrate the mainstream education and the vocational education, because there is always a stigma. There is always a question mark. Whether this vocational education is going to offer you a job, whether it is going to give you a livelihood. So that has to be taken care. But somewhere in the National Education Policy 2020, it is reinforced that we are supposed to take vocational education hand in hand with academic and other capabilities also. To achieve this objective, secondary schools will have to collaborate with industrial training institutions, polytechnics, local industries. To achieve this, we need to do that. There is going to be a lot of public-private partnership happening. There is going to be a lot of collaborations which are going to happen. There is a lot of industry-academia interaction going to happen. Syllabuses are going to be made as per the requirement of the industry, what the industry is expecting, what we are supposed to give. Is industry is getting what the university is providing or the institution of higher education are providing? Or is it something where the industry feels it out that we are supposed to retrain? We are supposed to give them very much practical, because at times the complaint from the industry is this: whatever is being offered at the institution of higher education, they are more of theoretical based and they lack the practical knowledge. So somewhere the schools, right from the schools I'm talking about, they are supposed to come up to collaborate with Institute of Industrial Training, that is government ITIs and others, the polytechnics, or some other industries or certain experts which can give them the knowledge and the information which they need to prepare the curriculum based for the vocational education. At the same time, skill labs will also be set up and created in the schools to be hub. As we all know, the initiative which was taken by the government of India in the Atal Tinkering Lab. Now today, pan-India, there are more than 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs activated under the name of innovative minds or under innovators. So something which is already being done, okay? Though the domain may be different, but it is being set up. So somewhere the research is being done, somewhere the initiations have already been taken. And based on that, we are supposed to move forward, and we are supposed to make schools are supposed to be hub, and later on they are supposed to be the role model for the other institutions, which will allow other schools to use the faculty. Once it is being established, as we all know, there's going to be a clustering of the schools, clustering of universities. As we all know, that the roadmap which the NEP, National Education Policy, is given, by the time of 2035, the institutions of higher education, the colleges which are running right now, are somewhere close to 45,000. And by 2035, the objective is to bring them down to 15, what I would say, 15,000, that is what the target is. So a lot of what I would say clustering of the schools is going to happen at the down level. A lot of clustering of the colleges is going to happen on the vertical aspect to it. But this is going to happen in the phased manner by 2035. 35. Higher education institution will offer vocational education either on their own or in partnership with industry. So there is going to be a formula. Either the institutions themselves can provide this industrial training, or there is an industry which will come into the campus and will provide the training to the learners. So it's going to be two ways. Either you can have a collaboration, or you can bring the industry to the institution itself, or other institutions can help. The Ministry of Education, as we all know, is consciously working in bringing out the collaboration between various departments. What we came to know is that there are almost 21 ministries which are going to collaborate with each other to provide the basic skills, skill setups, or skill mindset, so that the youth or the learner who is looking for a placement or looking for the job opportunities, these 21 ministries, whether it is the aviation ministry, whether it is the railway, whether it is the science and technology, or whether some other ministries, they all are going to have collaboration among themselves, and then they will provide a proper, what I would say, opportunity to the youth. As we all know, that the National Education Policy 2020 has recommended certain things which are very, what I would say, new to the present system, as we all know. And since there are no hard separation, the first aspect which the National Education Policy has done, and which is something which is very, very commendable, is no hard separations between arts and science, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams. So these hard separations, which were the part of our integral education from years together, that you go with the specialization, you go with this, art stream has nothing to do with the commerce stream has nothing to do with the science stream has nothing to do with engineering, or engineering has nothing to do with the management, and management has nothing to do with any other of the faculty. That was something was in the history. Now many of the universities have already adopted it. Many of the private universities have come up in a big way. Many of the state governments have came up with the conventional universities, that they have taken away the hard separation. The basic hard separation is something which is working on the mindset, the rigid mindset which we had. Now there is not going to be no arts and no science separation as such. A child can go for subject of science of his or her interest if they are being offered by the school or the college. And at the same time, a science graduate can go for subjects like economics, political science, or some other subjects, or sociology that way, or psychology that way. So no hard separations. Right from our schoolings, we have seen it out. There are hard separations which are being done. Hard separations, this is extracurricular activity. These are the activities which are going to be graded but not going to be marked, which are not going to be evaluated, which are not going to be included into your scheme of marking or into your passing certificate and all. They are all only going to be graded. In that, the sports was there, in that art was there, theater was there, music was there. Now, all these are going to be collaborated as one. So there is no extracurricular activity as such. It's all going to be more of an academic structure. So no hard separation. The learner has a better choice. Till now, it was a rigid system which has made many of the learners deprived of going for their favorite subjects because they have lined up with one faculty of science, or one faculty of commerce, or one faculty of humanities. Now, since these separations are being taken away, the children, the learner, are going to have a better choices of subjects, better choices of activities, and all these subjects are going to be evaluated in a more academic way rather than in a more non-academic way. So the harmful hierarchies is going to be eliminated the moment it becomes interdisciplinary, the moment it becomes no separations, because the national education policy is giving emphasis more on interdisciplinary, integrated approach of learning. And that integrated approach of learning is something which was the demand of the hour. We can't study subjects in isolation. There are so many aspects which are, what I would say, has an impact. Psychology cannot be studied in isolation. You have to see from the medical ground, you have to see from the neurological ground, you have to see from society, you have to see from the economic point of view, you have to see from environmental point of view too. So the subject psychology today is not confined only to humanities, but it has been touched base by science, it has been touched by anthropology, it has to do something with the sociology, so many other subjects. So no hard separation is the one of the biggest, I would say, recommendation which was made by the national education policy, and it has came up in letter and spirit both. It's not just in letter, but it is in the spirit also. Most of the universities have started offering subjects which are not confined to one faculty. A learner has the liberty, a learner has a choice, and the choice is encouraging choice, that the learner can learn so many aspects which are not just rigid. At the same time, the second aspect which has been very, very important, a, what I would say, a conscious national effort will be made to ensure universal access and offered equal opportunities to all children of the country to obtain quality, holistic, including vocational education, right from the preschool to grade 12. I'm saying a conscious effort has been made so that everyone gets the quality education. No discrimination in delivery, no discrimination in the content of the knowledge, no discrimination in offering of the courses, including vocational education. Because vocational education, if you go into the history, is always being taken as a second grade type of an education. Now, we all know without vocationalization, we will not able to sustain, we will not able to give employability to the youth. So quality education, pan India, a conscious effort has been made to ensure universal access. Universities are going to have access, the students are going to have access to so many things, which somebody who is studying in Sikkim can have an access to what is happening in a Mumbai university or in some other universities. We all know about the digitalization of the libraries has made it possible. And at the same time, COVID has also given us a digital platform where the resources can be channelized, the resources can be used, the resources can be multiply used. A single resource person who is of an international, you may say, acclamation can be taken, can be, what I would say, can go to every part on a digital platform. So on a online mode. So it's a huge, impactful one. The secondary stage will compromise of 4 years. As we all know, most of the universities have done now that the graduation is no more a 3-year graduation. It is almost a 4-year graduation now. As I will not go into the details of it, but it's a 4-year, and where you can start from a certificate, diploma, degree, and the fourth year can be an integrated one, or an honors type of a degree can be provided to the one. At the same time, 4 years, multidisciplinary study, building on the subject-oriented pedagogy and curriculum style out of middle stage, but with a greater depth, attention of life aspiration, flexibility, student choice of subject. As we all know, there is multiple entry, multiple exit. A student can enroll at one point of a time, and if he or she is not able to cope up with it or has some other priorities, can take a conscious drop and can rejoin the course next year or on the third year. So the flexibility has come up. The choices have come up. The student actually, the one of the biggest strength of this national education policy is that it has shifted attention from a teacher center to a student center. The student is somebody who is going to call the shots. who is going to make a choice? I would like to go with this subject. I don't want this subject. I would like to have choice. A real king, if you if you would like to say, is going to be the student. A teacher is going to be more of a facilitator, a guide, a helper, whose job is to navigate the child. The children is going to come up with their own choices of subject. In particular, students will continue to have option of exiting, as I've already told you, multiple exit and multiple entry. So the learner will go by his or her pace of learning. It's not going to be something which is being confined in 3 years. Now you can go for 8 years, but you can take a conscious break. If somebody has some other priorities or he has to learn some other electives or some other courses, he can do. As we all know, the dual degree has also come into the picture. The multiple exit and multiple entries also come into the picture. Multidisciplinary approach has come into the picture. So a lot of study or a lot of emphasis is being given to whom? Is being given to the learner. And the learner is the king. So the choices are being given, and it can be after 10th, and he can re-enter after 12th. He can go into the colleges. And in colleges also, the choice is very much is going to be with the student. And this time, the learner has to pursue vocational or any other courses available after 11th and 12th. A very conscious choice that every institution, every faculty, every course must have a vocational angle to it. You cannot have, maybe probably from the next academic year or the next academic year, every graduation course has to have one vocational course added to it, depending upon the specialization that learner is going for. So that choice is going to be with the learner itself. Students will be given increased flexibility and choice of subjects to study. As I have mentioned, students are going to have flexibility, the flexibility of choice of subjects. At the same time, he will have which subjects he wants to study, particularly in secondary school, including subjects in physical education. Remember, the choice of subjects the children can pick up right from 8th standard onwards. It's a huge revolutionary type of a decision where the learner is going to pick up the subject from standard 8th onwards. Now, something which is being done in the school is going to very much come in the colleges also. So we are supposed to be on the toes because the learner is going to dominate the whole process. So the learner is going to dominate the whole process of teaching, learning. And as a faculty, I'm supposed to be more vigilant. I'm supposed to be more observant what the child would like to have. Because as of now, if you go into the traditional or the conventional system of education, we will see that the learner is not so dominant. But the national education policy is giving a scope, a bigger, wider scope for the learners to pick up the subject. So we are supposed to, as I mentioned just some time back, the teacher has to be a facilitator more, particularly in secondary schools, including, as I mentioned, it is going to start from standard 8. So something which is going to start at standard 8, that means it is going to come into the culture when the child is going to move into the college or when he's going to move into the university. So somebody is already, I would say, has nurtured of independence. So the child is going to be more independent in picking up the subject. So we are coming back the including subjects in physical education. We all know the most neglected subject is in India is about physical education. Is something which is being treated as extracurricular activity, though it is not. Sports is something which is predominantly a very, very, what I would say, most liked and most preferred subject by the students. But I would say tragically, we are not giving that significant importance to sports. And that's the reason that we stand sometimes very low in international competition when it comes to the Olympics or any other international events as such. So the physical education, the arts and the crafts, when it goes to the colleges, probably we do have colleges of, you may say, specific colleges, but most of the conventional colleges do not have arts and craft as the faculty. In most of the schools also, it is not very preferred type of a subject. Rather, they are being treated as hobby classes. Rather, they are being given as a something which can be done in a spare time, not in the regular. But these are the courses which actually give them a real expression of the life, something which is deeply missed in our school education. But fortunately, with the National Education Policy 2020, it's coming back. Arts is coming back, music is coming back, physical education is coming in a big way. When I say it is coming in a big way, the National Education Policy says 45 minutes of physical endurance or physical exercise is going to be mandatory for every student who is joining the school. 45 minutes, that is something which is must be applauded by the teaching community, because physical health and physical health is something which is the most affected one, because our education system is primarily was focusing on what? Primarily was focusing on the mind. Primarily, it was focusing on remembrance. Primarily, it was all cognitive domain, that how much you remember, how much you reproduce, how much you think about it. But unfortunately, physical education was neglected. And for the first time, National Education Policy has given something for the physical education, a very conscious choice, again, I would say, 45 minutes every day. That means almost 1.5 period of physical education, because if the physique is strong, everything is going to follow. If the physical health is weak, probably we will not going to get the best of human resources. You may get it by intellectually, but they will not going to sustain for a long. And we have seen it out. Poor physical health is the most, what I would say, affecting the employability and the job employability also. So the physical education is given equal importance. At the same time, vocational skills, so that they can design their paths and study the life plans. If the children has exposure to all that, definitely they would like to make their own life plans, or they will have some aspirations that what they want to do consciously. So choice is being given to them. At the same time, integration of vocational education programs into mainstream education in a phased manner, including beginning with vocational exposure at early ages in middle and secondary schools. It has to be begin and early, because you just can't have a helicopter landing in the colleges. Okay, we are starting with a vocational course in the first year graduation. No, you cannot do that. If you are incorporating in the school, it's going to bring that culture into the colleges. So something which is not going to be so new. Okay. So less of the apprehensions, because somebody is well equipped in the school itself. The child will say, okay, I've handled this machine, I've handled that machine, I've worked on this object, I've worked on this machinery as such. Skills will be local skills, I'm saying. It's not going to be high-ended skills, because it has to be graded. Because if I'm learning a particular skill at standard 6th, I can't keep on repeating and learning the same skill. It has to be graded. It has to be upward graded, not equivalent. It has to be that I'm learning something new, upgraded one. If I'm working on a two-wheeler, next time I'm supposed to work on something else. Next time I'm supposed to work something else. And then you can go up to automation. So upgrading of that, and vocational education also needs a lot of R&D, and that's why we have talked about that we need to have proper collaborations with the industries. And vocational education is going to come and at every stage from standard sixth onwards in the schools. Huge investment is going to be required, no doubt about it. And that's why the government and the state governments are supposed to have linkages with industries, has to have linkages with private parties, has to have even the philanthropists and the people, those who can donate money, because it's going to be a revolutionary type of a activity, which is going to need huge, huge investment also, state governments in particularly. At the same time, Loka Vidya is something which is missing today. We have too much of a, what we can say, the local skills, okay, local, I would like to say, entrepreneurships, okay, we can have, but they are missing somewhere. They are being somewhere marginalized under the when the technology has came up in a big way. So handicrafts have been lost there. People have lost their jobs. NEP is making a conscious effort that we can bring Loka Vidya and localized knowledge, localized skills in the schools and the colleges simultaneously. We might have seen it out how big demand it has when it comes to handicrafts, particularly handicrafts, handmade. We are coming back to the old era of handmade things. Okay, this is something somebody was saying. Ashok Yadav is saying, according to the local needs, absolutely local needs. It has to have local needs. You can't bring something, a foreign element, and make them to learn, because the learner should feel connected to that. A learner can feel connected only when it finds the connection to it. If something is alien coming into it, no doubt it can enhance the curiosity of the child, but it may not going to yield what we are looking for, the knowledge we are looking for, the expertise which we are looking for. So something, if I would like to put it out in a very, very common sense way, can we go near to far? Can you go from local to global? Can you start thinking what skills are missing? Okay, what skills our children are not having, which our generation, maybe the people those who are into their 60s, 70s, 80s today, they are having, okay? They were having, but we are missing it today. So Loka Vidya is being going to be introduced through vocational skills in a big way, but it all will start from schools, because something has to be done with the schools, and a very systematic, phased manner. Introduction of all these things are being already started in model schools, in Navodaya Vidyalayas, in Kendriya Vidyalayas. They have already started it. Yeah, as we all know, India has in lakhs of schools. Okay, so reaching to all these schools is going to be a humongous task, but an initiative is being taken, a conscious initiative. Every school may not have 10 skills, 5 skills, 4 skills, but at least they can have one Loka Vidyan or Loka Vidya skill, which can definitely help. Vocational education will be integrated in all schools and higher educations. At the same time, institution in a phased manner over the next decade. See, nobody's in a hurry. Nobody wants to bring any change overnight. Everything is going to be done in a systematic. Because why it is going to be systematic? Number one, it needs a lot of infrastructure. Number two, it has something to do with the technology. Number three, you need experts to teach that, because we all may not be competent enough to teach that. So we need another line of teachers, trainers, instructors for that, which we are going to cover in the phase-wise in our today's lecture. But we need infrastructure for that. So it's going to be in phased manner, as the Planning Commission previously used to do. Now NITI Aayog is going to phase it out in a more appropriate manner. Focus areas of vocational education will be chosen based on the skill gap analysis. Now, this is something which is very, very significant. Okay, we are going to need people, those who are going to do the gap analysis, where we stand today, and what is required tomorrow. Something which we fail to do, okay, or rather we failed to do in our in engineering degrees and vocational institution of technical education and all. But gap analysis is the need of the hour. Otherwise, whatever is being offered in the colleges today, the university says they are outdated. They are not matching what they are asking for. And that's why the reason most of these premier institutes, their children are being, or the learner are being absorbed for the job in their seventh, what I would say, semester itself, so that the eighth semester, the industry can train them what they are looking for. This is an irony, okay, that the industry is taking almost 6 months a child on a board just to train them what they're looking for. Actually, it should have been happened by the university itself, that we are giving the best of the minds, the skill set to you. You are supposed to upgrade them, okay? You're supposed to make them more skilled. But most of the industries always complain that no, it's not coming the way which they want. So skill gap or knowledge gap or gap, what is basically the gap between what the industry is looking for and what we are offering, the gap analysis, the mapping, the local opportunities, all has to come up. The mapping is also, what is your competency today, okay? What are you good in? Intellectually, what are you good in? Psychomotorically, what are you good in? Leadership-wise, what are you good in? Are you able to manage people? Are you able to work as a team? Are you able to go up front? Are you having a good communication skills, languages, proficiencies, team building? Because it's not about only vocational knowledge. People may have very sound skill set, okay, very, very robust skill set, but they may not be equally good as a team member. So the competencies, the gap analysis, and at the same time, what are the local opportunities? Because there's a lot of cry which happens, okay, that the villages are getting empty because all are running towards the cities, mega cities, big cities. So yes, we need to bridge the gap for sure, but that bridging of the gap is going to be done by whom? A proper industry academic interface. We have to work on it. We have to see what they are looking for and what we are offering. So the board of studies are going to be more activated. Board of studies are to be proactive now. We cannot be like, okay, we'll see after 3 years. No, probably we have to see after every 6 months. We have to incorporate something into it. And there are so many issues which are there, which we are supposed to deal at local level itself. The academic councils, the board of studies, the deans, all these people, those who are known as the think tank in academics, have to be fully activated, geared up to take on this opportunity. So gap analysis, yes, third parties can do gap analysis. Competency building, we may not able to do it, but there are people those who can do it for us. At the same time, we are supposed to search for the local opportunity, because there should not be mobility of human resources from one city to another city. It's not just moving from one city to another city. It is the culture which you take it to the one city to another city. And when it is mismatches, okay, when you are not able to be so comfortable in working in some other region, then you find it out, sorry to say, you find it out, the children feel disheartened. They are not able to feel that satisfaction is missing. So can we create opportunities of job locally itself, which are equally competent in compensation also? Because most of the times, why the youth move from one city to another city? It's the money which makes them to move. First, then the satisfaction, then the lifestyle, then something else. But money becomes the first criteria that makes them to move. So we have to see that the mapping, the local opportunity, the Ministry of Human Resource Department or Development, now known as Ministry of Education. Now that's again a big, big change. Human Resource Development is no more Human Resource Development. It is education, the Department of Education. The moment we say it's a Department of Education, because education is something which goes on lifelong. Human resource development is something which is limited concept itself. So when we say Ministry of Education, the canvas is bigger. The scope is bigger. The Ministry of Education will constitute a national committee for integration of vocational education. A committee of what? National Committee for Integration of Vocational Education, consisting of experts in vocational education and representative from across ministries, which I have talked about. 21 ministries have come up front to collaborate with experts in collaboration with industry to oversee the efforts. It's going to be a joint effort. It's going to be a collective effort to bring vocational education into the mainstream. At the same time, individual institutions that are early adopters must innovate. There are already institutions, those who have begun this work, must innovate to find models and practices that work and then share these with other institutions through mechanisms set by the National Committee for the Integration of Vocational Courses. There are going to be certain institutions, those who are going to doing pioneering work. Once they have done, they are supposed to share it with other institutions. It cannot be like, mera ho gaya hai. I have done with it. Now I'm going to keep it with myself. No, one has to share how you have done it, how you have achieved it, how you have worked on to so many things. So mechanisms which are to be shared so that it and a help can be extended to reach to vocational education, different models of vocational education and internship, apprenticeship will also be experimented by higher education. Now, one path-breaking aspect which is coming up in a big way in higher education today is that one complete semester is going to be devoted for internship or apprenticeship. The universities have to provide, okay, what type of internship I'm going to provide, what type of articleship. We all know about in the School of Commerce and Management, there used to be something, if somebody is going for a CA, there is something known as an articleship. The boy or the girl has to go for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. By the time he passes or she passes the CA, he is half a chartered accountant because he has gone through the articleship. The same thing is proposed in conventional BA, BCom, BSc, a semester completely devoted for going for an internship. Now, internship is going to be a hands-on experience. If I want to be into car sales, if I want to be in marketing, if I want to be, I would like to say, insurance advisor or a financial advisor, I want to like a tour operator, I want to do something in travel and tourism, I need to have hands-on experience working with a travel agent, working with a financial institution, working with somebody. So a semester completely devoted, it will definitely going to take care of the complaints which normally the industries have that your students don't have practical knowledge. At least 6 months, one complete semester going into vocational articleship or internship is going to make a huge difference when these learners are going to appear for the interviews. It's going to give them, I would say, shortened arm, because that was missing previously, because there were plain graduates. A graduate who is going for BA in psychology has never met a psychiatrist, has never gone into a old age home, might not have visited how the rehabilitation center works, how the special schools are being run. Now, if I'm really interested to do something in psychology, I'm supposed to get connected to a rehabilitation center. I may need to work with a special school which is working on different learning disabilities today. Okay. So I have first-hand experience. Now, experience is something which we lack at times. And new national education policy is giving that short an arm also, that everyone has to go through that particular internship. At the same time, as I mentioned, that institutions, the National Qualification Framework will be detailed further for each discipline. For every discipline, we are going to have, I would like to say, a written format, a written aspect that this skill means these things, a description of that particular skill. As we all know that Skill India or National Skill Development Corporation has breakdown the jobs into tasks, and tasks are being further breakdown to small aspects. Today, somebody can go for a particular course, even that course may be tracking your courier, or you can be working as a frontline officer, or you are being working as a desk on a desk for collecting the consignments. How you are supposed to track? So every NFQ has been done. Every small tasks are being covered up or breaked up into hours, and based on hours, the students are going to get certification for that. So in Indian standards will be aligned with international standards, classification of occupation maintained by International Labor Organization. What happens that, okay, you are being from this university, we recognize the university, but certain things we don't recognize because it's not being at par with the international standards. So whatever you are preparing today, whatever is being done today, we have to see that they are at par with the International Labor Organization, which has their head office in UK. It has to match because the objective of the national education policy is to make global citizen. So if you really want to make them the global citizen, it should somewhere match with what the global standards require. You can't just say that we are not matching with them, okay? So a very, what I would say, tough job that we are supposed to match with the international standards, but somewhere we have to work on. So International Labor Organization, this framework will provide the basis for the recognition of prior learning. As you all may be knowing, what this national education policy has done in a great way has started giving equivalent certificates. There are youth, okay, there are people, those are a lot of practical knowledge, okay, but they don't have a piece of paper known as a degree or a certificate. But they have skill, and just they have the skills, and the companies ask for a certification which they don't have. The Department of Education has started with equivalent certificates. If you can do, it may be a two-wheeler mechanic, it may be a four-wheeler mechanic, it may be somebody else. Okay, you might have seen it out. In most of the garages, okay, they are better than our engineering graduates at times, because they have a lot of practical knowledge how to work on machines, running machines, okay? The government and the department is making a conscious effort based on their practical knowledge. Can we certify them as capable of doing this? Once they have the certification, it enhances their opportunities of getting better jobs, better paid off. Just because they don't have certificate, today we find it out, they are not even called for the interviews. You may have the best of the knowledge, best of the practical hands-on experience, but you don't have a piece of paper which is known as a diploma or a degree. They are being not considered for the job. So equivalent certificates like MCVC in Maharashtra, there is Maharashtra vocational course, something like that, which has been given like a 12th standard. Today, they have been giving it as an equivalent certificate to it. So once you get the equivalent certificate, you are getting into a job market, you are getting into the uh, higher education domain with a lot of clarity and consciousness. So that effort is also being made by the ministry to so that that aspect is being taken care. At the same time, prior learning is also to be recognized. Through this, dropouts from the formal system will be reintegrated by aligning their practical experiences. We see in higher education also, there are children, there are learners, those who discontinue their education. Reasons may be many. We name them as a dropout, okay? But the national education policy is giving, as I mentioned earlier, multiple entries and exits. You may leave your education because of a specific reason, okay? and that reason can be taken care, and you can rejoin the course after a gap of an year. At the same time, you have that flexibility of doing it. There was one university which I know was used to do examination on demand. If the learner is ready, they can appear for the exam. Such, what I would say, learner-friendly system, okay? Right now, we are supposed to wait for our semester exam, year-end exams, and then we wait for the results, and then everything happens. One of the university which I was knowing was offering examination on demand. No, it's a challenging one, but that initiative was taken so that the, the fast learners can upgrade their degrees much faster. They can go for rapid, what I would say, enhancing their knowledge. We'll take a conscious break of, say, about 7 minutes over, because we are almost speaking. I'm speaking for 1 hour. I will take just a 5 minutes break. Even you can take a break and have half a cup of tea. I would like to take a glass of water by that time. And we will be reconnecting at exactly 3:34 or 3:35, sorry, 3:35. Shall we start? Yes. So, as we all know, the regulation of the prior learning, this dropouts के बारे में बात कर रहे थे और आप बोलो तो so can we bring them to the main education or the mainstream at the same time a certain framework, relevant framework can be made to assess their prior knowledge. The credit-based framework will also be facilitate mobility across general and vocational. As we all know, most of the universities are today working on credit-based courses, and if you are earning a extra credit, it can be calculated for the next one. So you can have credit bank also. So this is what the background of it. Now there are certain challenges, and these challenges are too many. The one challenge, because bringing vocational education into the mainstream, the first and the foremost is in the thought process itself. Somewhere it becomes really difficult to digest how vocational education is going to be brought into the mainstream, because till now we have compartmentalized. We have made it a very strong vertical wall for that. The one course, which are the courses which are offered here, cannot be taken out from this. So how we are going to do it? There are challenges and there are certain actions which can be taken to overcome it. The first and the foremost challenge is overcoming social status hierarchy associated with vocational education. There is stigma. There is what I would say as very, very rigid mindset in the learners and in the stakeholders that vocational education, if it is being brought into the mainstream, how it is going to serve the purpose. Because it is always being taken as second grade or third grade option. It was never the first option as such. How we are going to do that? Actions are to be taken so that this stigma or this thought process, how we are going to overcome. The first is organizations can have awareness programs to change the general perception. Right now, what we are doing is, and also as a conscious effort to bring that change, to bring that awareness, that the general perception and attitude towards vocational education. The general attitude is it going to be helpful in my employability? It is going to give me a job? Or is it just for the namesake? There are general attitudes. Now, these general attitudes are to be taken care by conscious awareness programs. It can be done from institution to institution. Vocation, vocational exposure to children from grade 6 is a good initiative, because that is going to break the shackles, that something which is being given in the school is something which we should look forward in our colleges also, and sixth class standard onwards to all secondary and higher secondary schools. Everywhere it is going to be introduced in a phased manner so that the learner is aware that in colleges also I have to go with such type of a course. Information, education and communication and media campaigns. We can have campaigns for it, awareness campaigns. We can use social media for that. We can take care that proper orientations are being done in the schools and the colleges about the thought process about vocational courses. Preparation and distributions of brochures, leaflets, pamphlets, video shows on vocational education and courses can really help. Now, these are the measures which can create an environment. It may not yield all the results, but at least it will create an environment that whatever thought process we are carrying about the vocational courses, they are not right. Vocational courses are going to work as a strength, they are not going to work as a weakness. So, the first challenge, overcoming social status, we can do through campaigning and we can do through this aspect. The second one, integrating vocational education with general education with focus on social inclusion, gender equality, and inclusive education. Now, this is the second challenge. How we are going to integrate vocational education with general education. How we can do it? That it can be done. Introduction of skill-based activities from preschool to standard 12th. Introduce it at early. So the things which are being introduced early are absorbed properly. Things which are being introduced late has more of a non-receptive nature, has more of a, you can say, something which is being not accepted as such because they feel it from where it has come because they have never been used to it at a stage. Second aspect which can be done, reframing curricula through enhanced content of vocational knowledge and skills, better vocational knowledge and skills, better course alignment with skill standards and interdisciplinary content connections. Somewhere we have to start it that we are supposed to prepare the curricula through enhanced content. It cannot be peripheral. We are supposed to work on an enhanced content of curricula of vocational knowledge, skills, better course alignment. If we are aiming for interdisciplinary, if we are aiming for multidisciplinary, if we are aiming for what I would say, giving them the lot of options as such, we are supposed to develop the content which is of interest, which shows the results. As I mentioned, psychology cannot be learned in isolation. Okay. If you give them an hands-on experience of a domain which is being like a special school, special what is that? So we have to prepare that course which has an outlooking content through internship training. We are supposed to prepare on-the-job training modules for most of the learners. Whichever specialization they may be going, whichever aspects they may be doing, but we are supposed to give them workplace-related skills and attitude, because attitude matters the most. Attitude is an integral part of your personality. How you're putting up it, how you're giving it, okay? And if you have a negative attitude, if you don't have a positive outlook towards it, probably the skill sets is of no use. So attitudes through internship and on-the-job training. On-the-job training is something which is going to give them hands-on experience. It's something that you are learning by doing. Unfortunately, in our today's education system, we find this missing where on the online jobs or what I would say, online job trainings are missing, which is going to be the integral part in our National Education Policy 2020. Introduction of vocational interest inventory in grade 8, skill-based aptitude test in grade 10 for guidance and the students in making informed career choice. Something which has to be done in the school itself, and that can be done through various psychological tests which can definitely check, which can definitely see what is the area of the interest the child is having or the learner is having. Up to 8th standard, you can go with the interest. In 10th standard, you can see the vocational interest of a child. Which vocation is more interested into it. Psychological tests, which are being normally are more standardized tests, can definitely help to find out the ability and to find out the skill set or the basic aptitude of the child, which can help us in identifying his skill sets also. So use of proper psychological instruments, proper psychological tests can definitely help in identifying what aptitudes and what sort of a temperament the child is having. So based on that, we can choose a proper vocation. The fourth aspect which can be done is ensuring that qualifications are relevant to perceived social and economic needs. The qualifications which we are talking about must have perceived social and economic. If you are going for a particular skill set, what sort of economic needs are going to be taken care? Is it going to be something which is going to give him a livelihood? Is going to give him a proper, what I would say, lifestyle which he is looking for? Is it going to give him an economic growth or not? Is it going to be much of a stagnancy wala? Whatever it may be, we have to see what needs are being satisfied and perceived social and economic needs. When I talk about social needs, it may be about the respect, it may be about the dignity of the job, it may be about the value of the job in the community as such, and my economic needs, whether my economic needs are being taken care, whether I'm paid properly so that I can survive with my family. So the vocations are to be decided on that aspect. And the last, the national occupational standards is to be defined by agreed learning outcomes and applied consistency across all institutions. You cannot have different types of what I would say evaluations, outcomes. We need to have applied consistently across all institutions. If you are rating them, if you are evaluating them, we are supposed to see that it is not mismatched. Rather, they are being taken in equivalence with every institution. Focus on good practices and innovation by teachers in teaching learning. Again, the success of this whole uh, program depends upon the teacher mindset also. Focus on good practices. What are the good practices you are carrying and what innovations the teachers are making, okay? Because if the teachers are innovators, if the teachers are thinking of doing some innovation, that definitely the learner will follow the footsteps of the teacher. So a lot of emphasis is on the teachers. A lot of because the teacher over here is going to be a role model, is going to be an example, is going to be somebody who is consciously doing something because the learner gets influenced by the teacher. Over here, the role of a teacher is more of a facilitator because we are into college, we are into higher education, we are uh, where the students literally see what you do rather than what you say. So, in vocational education and development, we are supposed to see that the practice and the innovation by the teachers for the teaching learning, what innovations they are bringing, what new things they are bringing, what creative things they are bringing into on the floor. Ensuring private sector participation in funding. We have to see that the private parties are coming in a big way. As I've already mentioned, that vocational education reaching to so many schools and almost more than 45,000 institutions of higher education is a big task. And for that, we are supposed to see that the private sector partnerships are coming, funding is coming up in a big way. Because it's like when you see, you feel attracted towards it. You can't just give them promises, okay? Okay, we are going to have this type of a set, that setup of a setup. Rather than we are supposed to build the setup so that the students get attracted towards it and then they do it. The next challenge which we have is introducing local vidya, that is indigenous knowledge and skills in schools through vocational education. It's easy to say that local vidya has to be introduced, but how we are going to do it? It's a challenging one. And how we are going to do it and how we can do it as an action ways is identifying local vocational crafts and organizing internship for students on indigenous practices. First, you have to identify local vocational crafts. What are the uh, vocational crafts which are locally done? And we are supposed to organize internship for students on indigenous projects. It can be under supervision of an expert, but before that, we are supposed to identify which are the vocational crafts which are required. Identifying local experts and conducting internship training for students. We are supposed to go a step forward. Can we identify local experts, which may not be having degrees, but they may having full of knowledge about that particular vocation? Can we identify these people? And under them, can we organize certain internship program or workshops so that they can be trained under experts? Third one, which we can do is community and industry partnership for vocational exposure. Definitely, if you have identified the local skill, if you have identified the local expert, then we are definitely supposed to see that once they learn where their product is going to land. So we need to see community with industry partnership for vocational exposure through informal internship development program. Something which has to be designed so that they get into it completely and they see that the industries are coming, it would can give them a push, a substantial push for their market also. Another challenge which I see is facilitating integrating new age skill, 21st century skills and entrepreneurship education in the schools. Now we are coming up with the new skills, okay? New set of new age skills. And how we are going to integrate this into our vocational one. First aspect which we can do is integrating employability skill at all stages of school education. We have to see that employability skills at all stages of school vocation. Right from the beginning, if the child is adopting a particular skill or is trying to learn a particular skill, we have to see what probability of employability is there. Is this particular skill set is going to offer them employability, is going to offer them job, is livelihood? What is the probability if I take up this skill, if I have to learn this skill? Is there a probability that I'm going to get employability after my schools, after my college, after my university? What sort of assurance I'm having, or what are the probability of a particular skill set which I'm learning now is going to give me a job, is going to give me employability? That probability has to be investigated in the school setup itself, because we are introducing vocational education in schools. And we have to link that learning, vocational course learning and employability right from the beginning. What are the probability? What are the chances? What is the surety? What is that, okay, everyone is going to be placed and where they are going to be placed and how much they are going to earn? What is going to be the value in the society, dignity? Every aspect has to be done. So a lot of research has to be done into it. Integrating new technologies for preparing students for the industries. New technologies are to be used. Certain automation has to be introduced. Everything cannot be done manually. Can you do something digitally? Can you see that the speed and the accuracy and the fineness of the product can be increased, though it may be loka vidya, but can we have multiple, what I would say, outcomes or multiple uh, products coming out of it with the use of the technology without missing or without losing the basic essence and the basic local touch to it, but using technology. It may be CNC operating, it may be cutter, it may be high-end technology which can be used for coding, decoding, so many aspects which can be seen into it. Introducing vocational courses on new and emerging skills demands of the industry. We are supposed to keep a track what the industry is asking for, what the industry is looking for. Are we giving them out of date technology? Are we offering them the courses which are done, which are don't have any significance left, or if they have the significance but they don't have a bigger significance left or significance left? What is that? Are we are supposed to do a lot of market research for that? Can we see what are the emerging skills demands of the industry, what the industry is asking for? And we have to see such as an artificial intelligence, which is in a great demand today. AI, we talk about, robotics, we talk about, Internet of Things will be introduced, and enterprise education will be promoted from grade 6, as we see in the National Education Policy 2020. Coding, decoding, a lot of robotics has been put into it, artificial intelligence, programming has been put into it. Why it is being put it into it? Because that is what the local industries are demanding today. Okay, there's a demand for it. We are supposed to prepare that sort of a mm, skill set, and that skill set can be done only when we see, when we move into the market, and when we be in touch with the industries, what the industry is looking for. So a very conscious, very effective industry academia interface is what is going to be required if we are looking for integrating new skill age or 21st century skills into the mainstream. Then promoting online and vocational education. It's not easy promoting an online and open vocational education, but still we can do it. Introducing new learning methods and digital tools like massive open online courses, flipped learning, virtual learning methods, and even learning on a, what I would say, hybrid mode. Mock is one aspect, MOOC, which is like massive open online courses. There are many courses which are available online nowadays. It is being all offered, most of them are being offered free of cost. The learning is free of cost, but for evaluation and for certification, you're supposed to, or for the examination, you're supposed to pay a specific fee. And once you pay the fee and you appear for the exam, you even get the certification for that. So we are supposed to see how technology and how we are supposed to use online ways of learning and digital way of learning and enhancing and bringing it. Vocational learning can be learned online. We have seen it out in pandemic, how engineering degrees or how engineer faculties have taught online the most practical subject, that too on an online, on a digital platform. Another challenge which I see is developing and implementing holistic assessment and evaluation system. Now, that's a big challenge when it comes to the vocational education. How we are going to develop and implementing a holistic assessment and vocational education. First and the foremost is going to be conduct interest in assessment and aptitude test to ensure special abilities of and readiness for learning in various vocational areas. As I mentioned earlier, we are supposed to conduct interest inventories, which is the area of the child, which is the interest area of the child which he wants to learn. What is his aptitude? I mean, the more, if you go into more technical aspect, what is your aptitude? That means what is your basic ability which can be sharpened and reinforced or re-strengthened more, but you need to have a basic ability which can be converted into aptitude. Test of measure special abilities or readiness for learning to various vocational course. It should not happen that, okay, that the children interest areas are different, their aptitudes are completely different, and we are offering a course which neither matches their interest nor matches their aptitude. It may happen, that's a big possibility, that why vocational courses are not liked or why they are not being picked up as a first choice. The reason is either the interest mismatches or their aptitude mismatches. So a very thorough, what I would say, proper interest inventories can be used to gauge the interest, or can be seen the area of their interest and the aptitude where they can be working, so that whatever skill is being introduced, they pick up with their interest and with their aptitude. Rather, we offering them a course which is not so liked by them. Measuring the achievement of learning outcomes through various tools and methods as checklists, group work, peer assessment, worksheet, presentation, student profile, 360-degree of assessment, evaluation of the student. We have to see by which way the performance is going to be evaluated, whether it is going to be by raters, whether it is going to be by the peer, whether it is going to be a 360-degree, whether it is going to be a checklist, whether it is going to be a group work, individual task, work assignment, project-based learning. We have to streamline, we have to see which way the assessment has to be done and evaluation has to be done. Then fostering vertical mobility of the vocational student. There should be always an upward trend, okay? That upward trend matters more. That means I must see a sense of progress. I must see what I'm doing, whether I'm moving, whether I'm not moving anywhere. So the outcome or how we can do it, the courses under National Skill Qualification Framework, NSFQ, or National Higher Education mobility to students from vocational subjects at school level to the college level. Degrees should differ. The progress, the learning domain should be strengthened. I'm learning something new. So I'm moving vertically. When I'm moving for higher studies, there is a sense of improvement. There is a sense of enrichment, enlargement in my knowledge, rather than I'm just going by basics, basics, and basics. So there can be levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7, level 8. There can be n numbers of levels where the learner should feel that they are moving upward. Next is, what are the challenges? Ensuring professional training for preparation of quality vocational teachers. That's the major challenge, okay? Ensuring professional training for the preparation of quality vocational teachers. As we all know, National Education Policy 2020 has marked 50 hours of training for every teacher. 50 hours is the minimum every year. So that training, but training a vocational trainer, okay, is a bigger challenge. So how we can do it? Developing capacity of vocational teachers and use of innovative pedagogy approaches to teaching and training. Pre-service training and short-term training courses for preparing vocational teachers, trainers through online, offline mode to be offered through States Council of Education, that is SCRT, and District Institution of Educational Training. Means we need to train, retrain the teachers, the instructors, which are going to take up the vocational course education. External trainers, experts in various vocations, to be invited to train teachers in clusters, block resource centers, and through Department of District Institutes of Educational Training, ensuring that vocational training providers meet quality standards across institutions based on common norms. That means the quality of the trainers can be enhanced only and only by training, retraining, and giving them substantial training period of time. Fostering innovation in training for teachers through partnership between the vocational education institution and industry and research institutions. Teachers can also go for on-the-job or job instructional training in companies. First-hand experience by the teachers can definitely make a sea change in the challenges which we are focusing for vocational education and higher education. Because if the teachers are not open, if the teachers are not receptive, if the teachers are not well trained, probably the whole exercise of vocationalization of the training is not going to make a huge impact. It would be good in letters, but it may not go well in practical. So the ounce of the responsibility or the chunk of the responsibility comes on teacher, comes on the instructor who is going to train. So what I foresee is, even in the conventional colleges, the regular teachers, depending upon their workload, depending upon their own interest and the aptitude, will get opportunity of retraining themselves, re-establishing themselves, relearning. Because if the teacher is upgraded, or the teacher is what I would say up to date, he or she can give equally effective training to the students. So training, retraining is going to be the mantra for successful implementation of vocational education in higher education, or skill-based education in higher education. Because if we don't have skill, probability we will not going to have a content tomorrow. So there is a phrase which says, skill hai to kal hai. Means if you have the skill in you, if you have mastered that skill in you, then you have a bright future. But this bright future is going to depend on whom? It's going to depend upon by the teachers, to whom I normally refer as facilitators. A teacher who is open, receptive, open to new ideas, learn to new things, and has an innovative mind too. Somebody who can do a lot of innovations. And that innovation is going to make the dream national education policy into reality when it comes to vocationalization of higher education. But yes, a sincere attempt has been made by the Ministry of Education to introduce the same at early age. And through this, with proper gap analysis, with proper what the industry is looking for and what the academy is offering, probably we'll come to know the gap. What industry is asking and what education is giving, if less the gap, more the employability. If more the gap, less the employability. So we have to see what the industries are asking for, what they are looking for, and we should give exactly what the industry is demanding. For that, a conscious interaction between the academic leadership and the industrial leadership is a must. So we have reached almost at 16:10, that is 4:10. We have 5 minutes to go, and we can definitely, if there are certain questions, I would welcome these questions to be answered, or you can give your feedback or in the chat window. There is a chat window, you can put your feedback about the session. And if you have any question,
I will allow them to unmute. अगर किसी के कोई सवाल है तो मैं यहाँ से परमिशन देता हूँ. Participant can unmute and ask.
yes, that
Yes.
would be
Number 122, Dr. Madhvi.
Madhvi ji. Yes, please, Madhvi ji.
Any participants want to ask the question? Unmute and ask. Roll number 104. Any participant? आप कुछ सवाल करना है सर से, आप पूछ सकते हो, नहीं तो फिर हम वैलिडेटरी स्टार्ट करेंगे.
हेलो हेलो
Yes.
हेलो
हाँ जी.
हाँ सर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू फॉर सच अ वंडरफुल एंड इंफॉर्मेटिव सेशन.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So it was really informative and knowledgeable, but too much lucid. So far, once again, thank you for the same. So that the lucidity is the beauty of today's session. So there is no question at all. But I am
Oh,
humbly thankful to you, sir.
thank you very much.
Humbly thankful, sir. Even though Rafe sir, uh, that the credit goes to the Rafe sir for such a knowledgeable person to have us for today's session.
थैंक यू सर जी, थैंक यू.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
ओके. किसी के कोई सवाल है सर से तो आप पूछ सकते हो. नहीं तो हम फिर वैलिडेटरी के लिए जाएंगे. ब्रेक लेना है सर, 5 मिनट.
हाँ, ले लेते हैं.
जी जी, आप एक 5 मिनट से हम लोग सब गैदर होते हैं फिर से. मीटिंग कोई लेफ्ट मत करिए. 5 मिनट से हम लोग गैदर होंगे और फिर हम लोग वैलिडेटरी के लिए जाएंगे.
चलेगा, ठीक है।
सागराचे इतिहासाचे जनमनाचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे गीत आमुचे आकाशाचे गीत आमुचे सागराचे इतिहासाचे जनमनाचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे
अभंगाचे ओवीचेही माय बोलीचे माहेर
वाऱ्यातही मराठीचे दिवे लख घरोघर संत महंतांचे विरागी गीत आमुचे वादळाचे इतिहासाचे जनमनाचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे तंतु तंतु संघर्षाचा पैठणीत भिनलेला
नक्षीतच पक्षी पक्षी विजयाचा मिळलेला
सोन पहाट उदयाचे गीत आमुचे उजेडाचे इतिहासाचे जनमनाचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे प्रज्ञेचा सूर्य नवा शब्द शब्द उजळून गेला समतेचा संगराचा अर्थ ढाळून गेला विराट विशाल संस्कृतीचे गीत आमुचे जीवनाचे इतिहासाचे जनमनाचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे गीत आमुचे आकाशाचे गीत आमुचे सागराचे इतिहासाचे जनमनाचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे
Thank you, Amol. You can stop the university song. Again, I would request all respected faculty members, research scholars to open their cameras for this last session of this NEP orientation and sensitization course. Indeed, it was a beautiful journey with these 196 participants, having limit of 100 participants for this NEP orientation and sensitization course Zoom meeting. Many participants used to join from their YouTube link, but still such a nice group. In the starting 2 to 3 days, some repetitive topics were there. So after that, some suggestion came up, and we had different topics, especially related to skill development, teaching technologies, research methodology. So it was really a nice journey of all these 8 working days with all the participants. And I hope that you have taken something in your bags that you will deliver to your colleagues, to your students, to the society regarding this NEP orientation and sensitization course. We had started a journey with the Honorable Vice Chancellor of our SNDT Women's University, Dr. Ujjwala Chakradev ma'am. Then immediately on second day, Dr. Ranjan Garge sir, who is former principal Government Arts College, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, he delivered a talk. Then we had a lecture of Mr. Sandeep Joshi, who is member NCT Jallore, Rajasthan. Then Dr. Anju Brahma ma'am, she is an in-charge principal of Seth Hirachand Mukta College of Arts and Commerce and Science, Kalyan West. She delivered a talk. Then one of my close friend, Dr. Rajesh Javadekar, an alumni of this university, he delivered a talk. He is currently Director of Innovation, Incubation and Linkages in Kavitri Benabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. He delivered a talk. Then day before, then yesterday we had a day before yesterday we had a talk of Professor Praveen Panvesh Kumar, again a person from Management Science, School of Management Science. He's currently working in Indira Gandhi National Open University and has a vast teaching experience. Then we had yesterday lecture of former Joint Director of Technical Education, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, and current Director of Center for Development of Leadership in Education, Dr. Ajit Thete sir. He delivered a really nice talk. And today, again, a person who is had a long-term association with this Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, pre-Corona also and post-Corona also. In the pre-Corona era, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Bhardwaj sir, a single day he used to come to Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. He used to deliver a talk. Early morning, he used to start, still I remember, from Nasik. And he used to come here at sharp at 10 o'clock, and 10:30 he used to start. And without taking a lunch, he used to go back to his native place. So a person, a long-term association with today's resource person, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Bhardwaj sir. And indeed, when it comes to the online lecture, always he is a helping hand to this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center. So I'm really thankful to all these resource person for sparing their valuable time. Also, my special thanks to the all participants, those who have actively attended, asked the question to the resource person, had curiosity about the lectures, because you see that maximum time what we have seen that an online lecture is now getting mere a formality with joining and closing the cameras. But still, I have seen that in this batch, many participants, they were actively involved in the lectures. So I hope that this will continue, but still we are striving hard to get the participants for offline lecture. We have scheduled 2 to 3 offline courses also, which in future we will see that it will happen. Even the University Grants Commission and Ministry of Education, they are insisting that the Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center should go for offline courses also, because it will bridge the gap. It will remove the barriers which are there in these online courses. Several limitations are there. Even we can say that when it comes to the any mode of delivery, both have their advantages and disadvantages. Because you see that when it comes to online, it is really convenient. A person from USA, UK can also join, and also at Pan India level, also the participants can join. But there are also several limitations. So we have to take both the things. Even the ministry now, they are insisting that just a day before yesterday, I had a talk with the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Education. She told me that you should go for now online training programs also. Even the required number of participants are come minimum. Required number of participants are not fulfilled, even though you can go. So that a trend can be set of the offline courses. So I hope that in future the offline courses will be a reality, because we can learn more, we can have an
academic connectivity with the participant, which we have seen in this entire journey of my working in this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center. A connectivity is there when it comes to the offline courses. So not taking much of time, I would now request our chief guest, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Bhardwaj sir, to deliver a short and sweet valedictory session to all of us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Rafe. As always, it's honor to be associated with the university who is doing something really, really good job when it comes to the sensitization and orienting teachers, faculties for national education policy. It's a giant step by the Ministry of Education and the UGC both. Okay. India itself is a big, big nation when it comes to uh, bring any change. And national education policy is something which we all look forwarding for something. I would like to say a very positive change. Right from this is the first policy which is covering income, covering every nook and corner of the education system, right from the pre-primary to the higher education, research and development, institution of excellences, funding for the underprivileged, developing the faculty in the true sense, uh, vocationalization of the education, which was at times was most neglected part in the school education as well as in the higher education also, something which was previously supposed to be the domain of technical institutions, something which was supposed to be done by the engineering colleges only. This change, which I see personally, a very, very positive and a radical change. And no doubt by 2035, if we are looking forward for a global impact player in providing the human resources, which we are already providing even today. Okay, if you talk about, we are the youngest nation encompassing almost 75 crore of people, those who are in the age of 25 to 30 years. So we are the nation which the world is looking on towards us when it comes to the committed, integrated, devoted, sincere people, those who work with a lot of integrity. Okay. So somewhere it becomes our responsibility as a teacher to be equally sincere in whatever we are doing and whatever we are trying to give to our student. Because teacher is the most influential factor right from the childhood to the college, okay, to the university. Okay, even today, the most important role anyone who can play, okay, the second best role played by the movie actors and the actresses, or they are the one those who are being influenced, they are the influencing factor. But on top of it also, I place teachers on top of it, because teachers are the one, those who are being taken as somebody, as a hero worship. Teachers has such a beautiful trust and respect in the community, a student community, that nobody can take away from them. So once that respect and what I would say influence is there, the responsibility goes multifold. So we own a lot of responsibility and accountability that how we carry ourselves in the domain as a teacher. Are we teacher as an instructor, or we are improvising ourselves every day? Is I am a better version of what I was yesterday, or I am improving every day? Today is a beautiful day. We are on the first day of January 2025. Okay, we are supposed to make certain promises. These promises which can be continued for longer. It should not be what I promise today and what I break tomorrow. Something which is going to make a beautiful impact on my student. So a teacher need to be highly receptive, open-minded, the one who is always there to help out the child, who is always there to facilitate, who is always going to see, who is going to observe the child to the core. Somewhere in down the years, the teachers are not so that, what I would say, an observant and the vigilant, because of the number of students getting more and more and more. but somewhere as a conscious, as a sincere teacher, or as a teacher with integrity, I need to observe my child from the core. I need to see what potentiality the child is carrying. Okay. Who else can be the better judge or a better observer after the parents, a teacher? So the teacher role is multiple, teacher role is challenging, is the role which is most respected in the most of the communities. So yes, it brings most of the accountability. And as far as the National Education Policy 2020 is concerned, we have seen so many domains, okay? What is the role of the society? What is the role of academia into it? What is the role of extracurricular, curricular activities, research and development? And sensitizing what the NEP is offering, okay? Every faculty, whether he is a permanent, whether he's an ad hoc, whether he's just contributing as a resource person, every stakeholder must know, must be aware of what NEP is offering, okay? If the teacher is aware, probably he or she can make the student more aware of it. The only thing which I see is going to be a challenge, because we are talking about student-centric approach from a teacher-centric approach. So students are going to be in demand. Students are going to be someone who is going to play a very pivotal role henceforth, which they were playing previously also. But now, since it isn't written, it is there in the document itself, the choices are going to be made by the student. The flexibility is given to the student. The exit and the entry is given to the student. Almost the curriculum which is going to be coming is going to come up from the industry. So as a teacher, my role is going to be more of a facilitating, making the subject more interesting, making the learning environment where the child is going to learn or the learner is going to learn should be of making, giving encouragement, appreciation, encouraging what the best in the child is. Because today, a learner can make career in any sphere of life, okay? Gone are the days where we have very rigid streamlines about the job or MPSC, UPSC, or certain industries or certain professions. Today, you can make career in any aspect, okay? You can go to sports management because you have lot many sports companies coming in, lot many events are coming up. We have never thought of Indian Premier League coming in, Indian Hockey League coming in, Indian Kabaddi League coming in. So many, and all these need, and so many pop stars coming into, so many artists coming into it, those who are giving live performances. So you need management for every aspect. So career is everywhere, okay? Career is there. But the only thing is, as a vigilant teacher, I need to observe the child and see the potentiality in the child. So if I can be a conscious teacher, if I'm a conscious learner, open, receptive, ready to do something good, I think, yes, NEP is the right recipe for them. They can make wonders out of NEP. So to make the national education policy successful, I see the role of the teacher is very, very, very significant in making it happen. And only the teachers, those who are conscious, those who have made a conscious decision to be into the teaching fraternity, will definitely make a huge change. I'm thankful to the department. I'm thankful to the UGC Malviya Mission of Teachers Training Center, our own university with whom I am associated for more than 10 years now. Many a times I have visited the university, I have enjoyed the hospitality, and I have seen how consciously they work and pick up the topics for this. I must congratulate the director and the assistant director for conducting such it's like from months together they are doing it, sensitizing and orienting people about NEP. So thankful, really thankful to the faculty. I'm thankful to every participant, those who have given a patient listening, okay? And what Rafe has noticed, even I have noticed, for the first time I've seen lot many video cameras on. Otherwise, it used to be like talking to blind windows where no expressions as such. But yes, this time it was even encouraging for me to speak more and talk. Okay. Thank you once again to be given me this responsibility of being the chief guest. I'm honored and privileged to be one of the resource person, at the same time the chief guest for the validatory function. Over to Rafe for the further conduction of the validatory function.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing your valuable time for this validatory session. So on behalf of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, my special thanks to Dr. Ashwini Kumar Bhardwaj sir for sparing his valuable time and concluding this entire NEP course with his informative validatory session and also a lecture. So my special thanks to him also and all the entire participant also. So before concluding, I would request all the person to stand up for national anthem, and I would now request Gaurav to play the national anthem. सभी राष्ट्रगीत के लिए खड़े रहें.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I would now request Gaurav, with the permission of the chief guest,